What is going on, my YouTube family? It is your boy Zary from the XMG, and we are back to talk pandas. Now, this is going to kind of be a three-part video, but I get asked a lot, like, how I felt about the panda rework, and what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go over what, like, each of the move kits, kind of talk about them, you know, a little bit, and then talk about, did they get nerfed, did they get buffed, how do I feel about the whole thing, and then the other two videos are going to be each team broke down, like ruining them and see what they can do. And I've been playing around with them. As you can see, I took every panda to gear 11 plus, and not gear 12, but just gear 11 plus, to mess around with them and see what we were capable of. So with that being said, let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Zary, and before we get into the video, I just want to remind everybody, if you're under level 15 and you want $10 worth of free stuff, go to your settings, go to use promo code, and type in XMG gift. You do that, you'll get $10 worth of free stuff. It helps support the channel. So if you're under level 15, make sure you're using that promo code XMG gift. Enjoy the video. So for me, this patch and rework to pandas, I gotta take it with a grain of salt, and maybe that's not the answer you want to hear, but you'll hear my overall comments at the end of this video. But they said they weren't done yet, and that's how this whole thing feels right now, is completely incomplete. And we're gonna go over that now. We're gonna start off with Patriarch Chi. I think Patriarch Chi benefited from this patch 100%. He is more plug and play viable now than he ever was before. His leadership actually has meaning because there's actual healing going on in the panda faction. There still needs to be a consistent healer, but the big thing here is when applying shield, Patriarch Chi heals an ally for 25% of the shield. Allies with full health gain 15% more shield instead. That is absolutely huge, because, you know, Fortitude before was, when applying a shield, you only had a 40% chance to heal, but it was 30% of the shield. So I'll take that guaranteed health healing at 25% over a 40% at 30. That's really big in the grand scheme of things, and I think he benefited from this patch quite a bit. Patriarch Chi, you see here the meditation move, you gain a tenacity increase and self-control for 2 turns instead if they're allies from the order. And that self-control is, when a buff is active, a hero is immune to daze, stun, and turn meter reduction. So it's the opposite of daze. Okay, that's a very powerful buff for tower mode, for the arena. Very powerful. And, you know, being on an order team, now it's meditation, he can put it on all the allies from the order. That's big. That's another reason why he got a buff, because that self-control is like putting on anti-daze, anti-stun. It's like all these little buffs rolled into one. So Patriarch Chi, to me, was a real winner in this whole thing. Now, he deals 220 magic damage. Kinley and a random ally gain shield equal to 25% of the damage dealt. So trying to keep Kinley survivable, but they're definitely breaking apart the panda teams into set teams, and we're going to go over those at the end of the video, and then those will be the follow-up videos for the pandas. Now, Uncle Ho is the next one up, and Uncle Ho's a super interesting character, and in his noob series I broke him down quite a bit, but he fits into one of those 2 panda teams. And the thing that really gets me with Uncle Po is this. His passive ability has a 60% chance to inflict daze or burning on 3 random enemies for 2 turns, after using a skill. And the passive is incredible. But 60% chance. So what if we brought that to 100, right? And brought it down to 2 enemies or something. It's still going through that double potency tenacity check, and his potency is very good. So his passive is unbelievable, but that could really benefit the team and take him to a different level without making it insanity, right? And then, you know, his festive fireworks, very good move. You know, all allies get crit chance and crit damage, so it ups his plug and play viability. So that can help, but he's so squishy, very, very squishy, very hard to keep alive. Your standard attacker, right? Kinley to me was a huge beneficiary, I guess, of this rework. And his leadership ability, all allied pandas gain 30% of their max health. Pandas recover 5% health for each critical hit dealt and each buff applied. Pandas with full health recover 5% turn meter instead. So we're feeding that turn meter train. We are restoring health, building a survivable panda team. And when I get into the later videos, I think one is good for offense and I think one is good for defense, right? So here, his 5-on-1, he removes 2 debuffs. So he's dispelling, taunts, armor increase, recovers 25% health. One of the best taunting mechanisms in the game. But if Kinley is the last fighter remaining, he gets a damage increase, crit chance increase, and a dodge increase. I don't like that part of it. It doesn't benefit the rest of the team like it should. I just, like, maybe if he was killed, right, then they gain a damage increase or a crit chance increase for 2 turns and a dodge increase for 3 turns, like a self-sacrifice. Like, I get the 5-on-1, but let's face it, if it comes down to Kinley's the only one left and they have 3 or 4 people, that's not gonna do anything for you, right? I'm really glad they reworked Jade Wave. 50% chance to apply an armor increase to 3 allies for 1 turn. You know, I really, really like that. The old version of Jade Wave, where is he? Yeah, 50% chance to apply a tenacity increase, right? So tenacity, armor, still same kind of debuff, but armor is more survivable, and there's a lot of squishy pandas out there, so that helps. And then his basic ability, if Kinley has more health on this target, he deals 250 instead of 170. Okay, I mean, again, like, you see somebody like a Tromgar who's stunning, you know, and you want Kinley to be beefy on health. I get it. Like, right now, Gear 11 plus, I'm at 55k health alone. So he's a beefy tank. But I just like to see him do just a little bit more. But that change to his leadership was incredible. And then his passive, they didn't touch. I was really worried they were going to touch his passive, because it's one of the best passives in the game, in my mind, for a tank. I mean, you're recovering 20% of his health, so, you know, it's like 10k we're getting back, like 8k, somewhere in there. Math, you know me, but probably way off, but that's off the top of my head, but still very, very solid. Foul. Foul is an interesting one, right? Foul increases physical damage by 30%. Critical hits inflict burning for 1 turn if there's an allied panda mage on the team. Well, there's 2, Ember and Lake, so you kind of know what team she's going to fall into. But the fact that she can inflict burning on a critical is humongous. And they tried to address her survivability issues without tweaking gear and stats. And giving her cheat death for 2 turns is pretty good. It's a good start, but she's still so incredibly squishy. I mean, gear 11, we are looking at 46,000 health and shield combo. I mean, Kinley has more health than that by himself. So there's still that issue there with Fow. But, you know, they took the right step there. This still bothers me. Deals 280 physical damage to the target and 2 random enemies. A critical hit with this ability decreases the target turn meter by 20%. They should have made this a AoE. If they would have made this an AoE, then you can amp up the crits, you're helping your team out with more damage, you're decreasing the whole enemy's turn meter, if it's a critical hit, by 20%. That would have made a lot more sense if they would have made this an AoE, and it would have made it a lot stronger. Basic ability, she recovers 20% of her turn meter. We know that didn't really change. So Fow she's a little better, a little bit, but not by much. So for me, Fow didn't really take a leap way up or way down. Like if I had to like grade her overall, maybe she'd move up like 4 or 5 spots, you know, because of the better synergy, but her main issue is still survivability, and it didn't change. Now, Master Duo. Master Duo is an interesting one, right? Master Duo, he took a nerf before he even took a nerf, because when they changed raids and turn meter reduction and all of that stuff, Master Duo took a hit. People say, well, you're just putting on slow. Well, they upped the potency, they did different things. Master Duo still took a hit. The thing that I really love about Master Duo is he can attack and counterattack invisible enemies. But he's got to have that counterattack up, and they have to go after him. And the team he's put into, you always have a taunt up. So it's very, very annoying, because you're like, wait, I want him to get hit so he can counterattack invisibles, but I don't want him to get slaughtered, because at gear 11 plus he has 24,000 or 44,000 health in shield combo. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds cool, but it just doesn't play like it should. You know what I'm saying? And gains crit chance, crit damage, increase, counterattack for 2 turns, and recovers 35% and 50% of his turn meter. Okay, but again, the taunt is always up, so it's like you're losing that counterattack and his passive ability because he doesn't get hit. Gains a damage increase for 2 turns. I like how this went to all enemies. And then he puts on his slow. So for me, like, the big change, that what I was really excited about with Master Duo doesn't get used that often. Unless they AoE you or something like that, which is a possibility, but it's always not a possibility too. You know what I'm saying? Ember. Ember to me is still a phenomenal damage dealer, but she feels to me to take it a step back. And she gains an inner fire 3 turns. At the end of the turn, she can really ramp up the damage with inner fire, right? Really, really cool. But what sucks here is this can nuke people. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it can't, right? But the problem here is she was a dispeller. You broke the 2 panda teams apart, and that second team has no dispel, and that is hard to come by because you run into a lot of problems with that team, like, again, which we'll get into in those later videos. But I mean, she can destroy people, absolutely destroy people, but you can destroy the wrong person, which then slaughters your team. She does still have the stun, you know, and this is so, her damage is so dependent on that inner fire that you need better ways to put it on. right? And, you know, today they just fixed Lake, second ability, so maybe that'll help a little bit. But it is... she just seemed to regress a little bit for me. That Dispel is what really helped Ember and that Panda team go, and it's gone now. And that to me seems like kind of a nerf. Her damage buffed, her overall playability down. Because even when you plugged her in that 3 mage comp, she was useful for her Dispel. You put her in that 3 mage comp, her damage isn't going to be that much different because she's the only one putting on burn. So her plug and play viability with this kind of took a nerf. Rin the Unseen really didn't get anything done to her, and that is super surprising to me that she didn't. I don't understand why everybody else did and she didn't. You know, she gains invisible. Each living allied panda defender or warrior increases this chance by 20%. Invisibility increases physical damage. Awesome, but it's only a 40% chance. So you put one defender and a warrior in there. Now you're at 50%. Or for each is 20%, so now you're at 60. It should have been Rin the Unseen has an 80% chance to go invisible. Boom. Or she should have had a move that made her invisible, much like Kyra or Wonder Lua. If you're reworking it, that would have been huge. Here, gains counterattack and damage increase for 2 turns. I would rather see gains invisible and a damage increase for 2 turns, recovers 50% of Rin the Unseen's turn meter. And then you rework this passive, and I just don't understand why she wasn't reworked. In this Fan of Blades, a 150 damage on an AoE, and yes, she's increasing her damage, I completely understand that, but at the same time, why isn't she 220? Doesn't have to be legendary, doesn't have to be 400 like Thelaine. 220, 230. That this physical damage to really oomph up that team needs to be higher. And this I really don't have a problem with. Maybe bump this up to 120, but for basic, whatever. And when she's countering, she's hitting 3 enemies, kind of like that of Major Shot. Got no problem there, but I think they missed an opportunity here with Rin to do something pretty cool. Lake didn't really seem to get better for me, or worse. He seems pretty much exactly the same to me. All allied pandas gain 1000 penetration. Each time when an allied panda counterattacks, he recovers health by 100% of the damage dealt. That needs to get reworked. His leadership ability needs to change, in my opinion. There's only 2 that counterattack. It doesn't make sense. I really want to see that leadership change, and they had a great opportunity to do it, to incorporate that burn team, and they really didn't do it. Increases tenacity by 25%. If Ember is on the battlefield, she receives the same buff. Okay. You know, gains accuracy and debuff immunity. This is fantastic. Love this. You know, the refreshing stream here. It used to read, removes all burning stacks from them, deals an extra 50% magic damage for each stack removed from the enemy, a 50% chance to inflict a potency decrease for 2 turns. So now we're seeing 200 magic damage to all enemies, removes all stacks of burning, deals an extra 40% of magic damage, and removes 1 buff for each burning stack removed. So he is the Dispeller. So they took it from Ember, they put it on Lake, and I said they don't have one in this team, and they really don't. Once every 3 turns, you got a shot, and then if you're going up against a tank who resisted your burning, you don't remove anything. It needs to be more consistent Dispel. And, yeah. They need to incorporate burning more into his leadership. And deals 180 magic damage, 70% chance to inflict a tenacity decrease for 1 turn. That should be 100%. So he's pretty much the same character to me. He amps the burning, he can feed Ember his inner flame. His leadership really would have made the difference for me, and he is about the same. So to me, it's about the same. Hilda, why was she not reworked? Increases her max shield by 15,000. If Snorri is an ally, both gain damage increase for 2 turns. That thing with Snorri needs to go. That should be Uncle Ho. So hopefully she gets changed. 340 physical damage to an enemy gains an armor increase and a tenacity increase. She should be like maybe recovering some health. Or she's a Valkyrie, so maybe she has like a lightning strike that can put burning on. Like, this would be cool if it was like a lightning strike spear throw, and then, you know, armor increase, tenacity increase, and at a 50% chance of inflicting burning. That would be cool. And then 210 physical damage gains a shield equal to 50% of the damage dealt. Fine with that. But her mechanics are just wonky, and she doesn't play right, and hopefully when they said there's more to come, she is one of them. They need to get rid of that story synergy. They need to have her be able to either stack more shield or overshield herself or put on burning to really pull that team together. Or do something with Uncle Ho that just completely changes both of them. Shaolin actually got better to me. And I really think he got better. He deals 1 more damage for every 4% of his health, an additional 10% if he has full health. Perfect. Right? Attacks a random enemy, targets 7 times, each flick does 100% damage. That should be a little bit higher. But here, a lot better. Shaolin and 4 allies recover 30% of their turn meter and gain regeneration for 2 turns. Shaolin gains 1 more stack of regeneration and self-control for 2 turns. Big. That's really, really big. Really big. You know, no more of this accuracy crap that he had before. If the target's health is above 50%, he recovers 10% health. I just think he should recover 10% of his health because he's at 50k at gear 11 plus. I got him in 2 dot runes, but you know what I'm saying, like, that should just be he recovers 10% of his health. But to me, he actually got better and is more usable. He helps out more against the dragon. In my mind, when you got this Strike of the 7 Chefs, now it does hurt a little bit that the triple serving doesn't attack anymore, because that was really beneficial, but at the same time, getting turn meter and regeneration is huge, and that self-control could really help you out. So I really feel Shaolin got better. So my YouTube family, there is Pandas, and what I think. So my overall feeling on this whole thing is this was a nerf. For a majority of them, it was a nerf. Now, I'm reserving an overall judgment because they said they weren't done. And I want to see it all come together. This dev team has a plan. They always have a roadmap. They always figure things out the way it should be figured out. And with that, I'm anxious to see. They need to rework Ren a little. They need to change Lake's lead. And in my opinion, they need to do something with Hilda. And maybe even give Fowl more survivability. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I see in my mind where they're going to split these 2 teams up. And, you know, the one team is a Kinley lead, Patriarchy, Master Duo, Shaolin, and Rin the Unseen. And in the other team, it's a Lake lead, Ember, Fowl, Uncle Ho, and Hilda. One team's for offense, one team's for defense. I don't fault them for that. That the thought train is there, but to be successful or to be usable, some more tweaks need to come, and I think they know that. And they said they're still working on it, but this is a good way to roll it out. So in the next video, we're going to break down the Kinley-led team, and we'll go from there. And yeah, so that's what I got. So let me know what you think down below. I've read a lot of people who thought it was a nerf. Some people were happy with it. So let me know. Was I off? Did this answer some questions for some people out there? So that's all I got for everybody today. So I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're just finding me for the first time. And I'm out.